Hello, welcome. This is Business Breakfast, broadcasting live from our studios here in Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. I am Frank Omalape. It's the Thursday edition of Business Breakfast. Just a quick information for you. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is asking Nigeria to devalue its currency further and raise interest rates to allow the currencies to depreciate in response to tighter funding conditions and an imminent policy tightening by the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. Well, it's no news that Nigeria is one of the beneficiaries developing nations in terms of loans and aids from these foreign bodies. Perhaps Nigeria may likely to consider the downside of devaluation if it should heed IMF recommendations. Well, I think it's important to understand what devaluation is first. So let's get to have that understanding. So what is devaluation? Devaluation is the deliberate downward adjustment of the value of a country's currency against another currency, group of currencies, or currency standard. Well, Nigeria is among countries that have a fixed exchange rate that use this monetary policy too. There are those who are suggesting that instead of the country devaluing its currency, according to IMF recommendations, it's rather, apply the opposite, that is revaluation instead. Well, here are key takeaways in devaluation. First, if you devalue the naira, it increases the exchange rate. Also, it will increase the price of imports and ultimately may lead to higher inflation, or what you call GDP. Of course, there are positive sides to devaluation as well, which is about increasing the price of import. And at the end of the day, if you increase the price of import, it will protect the domestic industry. But they may likely become less efficient without the pressure of competition. Now, another thing you should know is that aggregate demand causes demand pull inflation, and manufacturers may have less incentive to cut costs because exports are cheaper. So increasing the cost of products and services over time, it's one of the impact of the devaluation. However, devaluing a currency reduces the cost of a country's export and can help shrink trade deficit. However, in the last quarter, that's the fourth quarter 2021, of course, the trade deficit has a bit, improved as well. Well, so these are some of the information coming in on the economy space and the country's economy space, and that you need to watch out for. Of course, that will be one of our major talking points for today. All right, you're still watching Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here. Here's what's coming up in a moment. The International Monetary Fund advises Nigeria to devalue the naira and raise interest rates in response to tighter funding conditions from the international bodies, especially policy tightening by the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. Our focus in the first part of the program, therefore, is to look at these conditions and the implications of these on the economy. Also coming up, Nigeria's power sector gets about 806.5 billion naira for various power projects in the 2022 budget. So we take a look at the allocated figure and the impact in the sector. So these are some of the issues we'll be looking at today. But let's take a breather now. When we come back in the conversation, we'll start in earnest. Please stay with us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is Business Breakfast. Let's get started. Before we get into the conversation and look at some of the trending stories now, the President Buhari has lifted the ban imposed on the operations of Twitter in Nigeria, effective from January 13. This is today. This was disclosed in a press statement on Wednesday, signed by the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency and Chairman Technical Committee Nigeria Twitter Engagement, Kashifu Abdullahi. The statement read in part, quote, "The federal government of Nigeria directs me to inform the public that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the lifting of the suspension of Twitter operation in Nigeria effective from 12 a.m. tonight, January 13, 2022, end quote. The approval was given following a memo written to the President by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Ibrahim. The federal government had suspended Twitter operations in the country on June 5, 2021, about 222 days ago. In a way from there now, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, says cryptocurrencies' high volatility and valuation, as well as their increasing co-movement with equity markets, will soon pose risk to financial stability in countries with widespread crypto adoption. The IMF disclosed this in a blog post titled "Crypto Prices Move More in Sync with Stocks, Posing New Risk" on Tuesday. IMF said in the latest post that crypto assets were no longer on the sidelines of the financial system, adding there was an increasing and sizable co-movement between crypto and equity markets that could cause shock, destabilizing financial markets. It disclosed that the stronger association between crypto and equities was apparent in emerging markets economies, most of which are leading in crypto asset adoption. And of the Nigerian off-grid solar market is among the greatest growing in Africa, increasing at a 22% average annual rate during the past 5 years, according to a study conducted by Bernstein Consulting Group and All On, a Shell-funded impact investment company. The report, however, said the country had underperformed its peers in Africa in penetration of off-grid solar and had a long way to go before its solar market could be considered robust. It said Nigeria's installed photovoltaic panel per capita amounts to only about 1 watt compared to an average of 8 watts in similar emerging markets, indicating a big opportunity for further growth in the country. And now the federal government is planning to source about 620 billion naira loan from pension funds to support its proposed 7.73 trillion naira investment in transport infrastructure over the next 5 years. Specifically, the government is seeking to obtain the facility to finance transport sector projects between 2021 and 2025, hoping that the over 13 trillion naira pension fund will grow at an average rate of 15% per annum during the period. This were contained in the federal government's National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, which was launched recently. The federal government also revealed in the NDP document that the 7.73 trillion naira infrastructure spending would be sourced from the capital market, the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund portfolio, pension funds, among others. Well, and that's it for now with the top business stories. Coming up in a moment, after this break, our focus, it's on the International Monetary Fund advising Nigeria to devalue the naira and raise interest rates instead. And we'll be looking at implications of this for the general economy. Well, this is Business Breakfast. We'll take a break now. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Glad to have you join us now. The International Monetary Fund has advised emerging economies, including Nigeria, to allow their currencies depreciate in response to tighter funding conditions and an imminent policy tightening by the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. The Washington-based lender also counseled the Central Bank of Nigeria to raise the benchmark interest rate in preparation for the Federal Reserve policy tightening. According to the fund, the wide changes in the global economy outlook appear positive, especially in the United States. These changes are uncertain for emerging market. So let's make sense of this development now. Mr. Mike Oke is a public affairs and policy analyst. He joins me via the telephone now. Mr. Mike Oke, thank you for finding time to join us on Business Breakfast.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Frank, and good morning to our listeners.
No. Yes, I'm sure you've been following on that development. What does this mean for the economy? IMF is asking Nigeria to raise interest rate, not only to do that, but also to devalue the naira as well.
Okay, so we saw the news when it broke, and it's not the first time that IMF and World Bank and other international agencies will be, giving such advices to emerging economies like Nigeria and others. You see, for some of us, we are not too comfortable with these interventions that come from these international monetary agencies, because they have a way of delegating these emerging economies. Okay, and these are the consequences when you are a perpetual borrowing nation. You are always at the whims and caprices of these international monetary agencies. Okay. Recently, of course, Nigeria is trying to draw down on the loan facility from IMF, and that's where some of these conditions are coming from them. The naira has been devalued. Trying to want to push it any further, the biting effect on the economy. Presently, we are not completely out of the woods of recession. Okay, so any further devaluation on our currency is going to take a biting and a crippling effect on the citizens. And I think the Nigerian government needs to sit up and shape up and tighten up, look at other venues where they will boost this economy, rather than always going cap in hand in taking loans continuously from these international monetary agencies. It does not do us any good.
Well, I think IMF is raising this concern because they believe that perhaps Nigeria, the next place or the next point of call for loan request may be with the Federal Reserve Bank. And of course, the Federal Reserve Bank is trying to tighten up its monetary policy as well. Now, the question will be that what are some of these conditions should we expect, or we may expect to see in the coming days as regards these loan conditions?
Yeah, they have already stated these conditions. It's several. Okay, we are already in the trenches in our debt profile. It's on the increase. So for the nation still wanting to look towards going to take loans from the Federal Reserve, for me, I think it will not be in the best interest, because you are mounting pressure on your debt profile. Currently, our foreign reserve had a deficit in this January. We had a deficit of about 2.5%. We had first week of January, we had a deficit of $24.3 million in this first week. Although towards the end of December, we crossed the $40 billion benchmark. But because of this continuous intervention by CBN trying to stabilize our FX, it has always taken effect on it. So going to borrow, or what IMF is saying is giving us conditions to to Nigeria. Eventually, they may go that way. But I'm saying that they should weigh the options properly before they take that route of going to the Federal Reserve to want to take loan.
The devaluation will bring about, of course, a readjustment in the rate of the benchmark rate for foreign exchange, and which, of course, many experts have also suggested that it's time either to leave the naira to float on its own, to find its own level by way of demand and supply. How significant do you think this can help this situation at the moment?
Yes, of course. That has been our call all this while. That's the government should allow a free flow of the naira by way of the demand and supply. Let it be the controlling pace for it. But over the months, CBN they have always intervened to sustain and keep the naira at the peg, but they have not achieved that. Okay, it keep affecting our foreign reserve, and I don't know why the government, they formed an economic team, and we've not seen the effect of the economic team on the economy itself. There are too many, exchange rates are fluctuating at different corridors, and which ought not to be so.
Now, one reason a country may devalue its currency is to combat a trade imbalance. Devaluation, of course, this, according to some thought, it reduces the cost of a country's export, rendering them more competitive in the global market. How would you react to this?
Yeah, of course, that's one of the positives. But unfortunately, Nigeria, we are not a producing nation. Okay, assuming if the nation was assuming Nigeria was a producing nation, then we have a competitive edge, which unfortunately we are more of a consuming nation. And so that gain will not literally rub off on the country, okay, because of this effect. So I've always advocated that it's high time we look at areas, leakages within the system, within the economy, where some of this corruption has taken a strong toll on our economy. There are too many agencies and ministries that have no business still being there. If government begin to streamline some of these things, the Toronto report that he gave has taken care of too many of these leakages. But we see a government that doesn't have that political will to be able to block some of these hemorrhages on the economy. And if it is being done, we will not have so much need to be running out to be seeking for financial support and loans externally.
Let's look more further on the positive side of this devaluation that IMF has recommended for the country as well. Well, the devaluation, of course, will increase the cost of import, as it were, and which we all know that. But again, it will encourage cheap export. And you have also talked about the fact that we need to export more. If this happens, don't you think it will make a difference? So let's look at the difference, how significant this difference will make in terms of our export capacity.
Okay, so by the World Bank prediction, they have predicted that our economy might take a 2.5% upward growth by reason of the increase of price in crude oil that is being projected, which unfortunately our economy is a mono economy, completely dependent on crude oil, which is having an adverse effect, which is not good in any case, because the government by now is supposed to be diversifying the economy by reason of macroeconomic policies. Okay, so So for our exports, yes, if we have Nigerian Export Promotion Council, I think that council is responsible for exports of things, but we have not been seeing so much. The government has not really put its feet down. There are funds that they do push around, but it's high time they look inwards. Nigeria is blessed with abundant resources, especially in agriculture. Agriculture is about the next big thing, the next way to go. And if the government will harness the opportunities within the sector, it will also boost the economy. It will increase
Hello, Mr. Cookie. I think we lost connection with Mr. Cookie there. Yes, if we can bring him back to talk about this again, we'll do that. But in the meantime, we'll take a break now. And after the break, our focus is on the 2022 budget on the power sector. And that's our talking point next when we come back from this break. How much of the allocation to the power sector, how much difference or impact has it created in that sector? That's our next talking point. Please stay with us. Glad to have you join us now. We are connected back to Mr. Cookie. It's here now. Thank you for your time. Earlier, before we lost connection with you, you were talking about some of the things that we need to look at with regards to export to our crude oil. I think we need to get started from that point of thought.
Yes. I was saying that it's high time the government begin to look inward. The nation is blessed with abundant resources, and with more emphasis on the agri sector. There's virtually no state in this country that doesn't have an agricultural resource. Okay, and I know that the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is the body that is charged with exporting of our agricultural produce, but we have not seen the effect of that body so far. Okay, government should really look away from this mono economy of crude oil dependent economy. There are predictions that in the next 20 to 30 years, crude oil will no longer be the in thing. Other other emerging economies around the world, they are already diversifying. And Nigeria is blessed with agricultural deposits. So I am urging and encouraging the government to be able to come up with measures where every state will be able to export its agricultural produce. Our cocoa is one of the best around the world. Our sesame seeds is in high demand. But we need the government that has the political will to be able to drive it. Agriculture is a foreign booster anytime, any day. You can't get it wrong.
Let's talk about the World Bank has reviewed the Nigeria's GDP in 2020 for 2022 downwards to 2.5% from earlier 2.8 or 9% projected. Now we have some key economic policies that the federal government will capture in terms of implementation this year. You have the subsidy removal. You have the those calling for naira or exchange rate flotation. You have those the finance bill is there. So let's look at the fiscal between the fiscal policy of the government and the monetary policy of the government. What are some of the things we need to reconcile in terms of harmony, so as to have expected growth that we desire this year?
Look, my brother Frank, it's not the first time that we have been hearing this government, come up having more of a talk shop around these policies. What Nigerians need is implementation of these policies. Okay, like I did say, Oronto's report has suggested and given a leeway to government. But how much of these advices does this government take? Talk is cheap. They set up an economic team, and in less than months, you dissolved it, and you are setting up a presidential advisory economic team. So you will see that there are so much inconsistency. Yes, last year they banned the inflow of FX to BDCs and all of it. But we want to see something that is sustainable, that is stable. Removal of subsidy, it has been neither here nor there. Okay, today we are hearing they are removing. The next day we are hearing they will be giving 5,000 naira to over 40 million Nigerians when they remove the sub. So you see that they are for some of us, the inconsistency in the government policies is just much. Okay, so I cannot even be able to vouch for sustainability of some of these monetary policies or the fiscal policies as they are promising that they are going to adjust. What Nigerians want is implementations of those things.
Okay,
yes.
Let's try to wrap up now. Your outlook for the Nigeria economy in 2022. Of course, the CBN with the Monetary Policy Committee are expected to meet before the end of this month, the first time in 2022. What are your expectations into the year?
Well, as a Nigerian now, I will only hope and pray and encourage all Nigerians to be optimistic. Okay, to be optimistic that this year the government will be able to take the right policies, take the right decisions, okay, in the overall interest of the economy. I can't be able to predict what the outcome of their meeting that they intend to have towards the end of this month, what is going to be. We'll only wait with bated breath to see what the outcome.
Because a lot of people, just a moment, I mean, other analysts are saying that the CBN and its member, Monetary Policy Committee, may review the interest rate, and that could be the decider for other economic activities this year.
Yes, there are possibilities that the interest rates might be reviewed. There are high possibilities that it might be reviewed, but until then, let's keep fingers crossed and see how it goes. But for some of us, we are strong advocates for governments to have the political will to implement some of these policies, positive policies that analysts and policies advisors have advised this government or given this government in time past. We have enough policies that are on ground, but the political will to be able to do these things is what is the missing gap, my brother. So until the government be able to find their foot around it, we might still just be going around these circles.
Well, I think we need to leave it there. Thank you so much, Mike Cookie, Public Affairs and Policy Analyst. We appreciate your time on the program.
Thank you for having me, and have a great day ahead.
You too. Well, next up is our focus will be on the power sector. And when we return from this break, that's what will be our talking point. We'll be back in a moment. This is Business Breakfast. Glad to have you back now. This is Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. Well, it's time to turn our attention to equities market now as the market closed on a positive note as all shilling days appreciated by 1.71% to close at 44,608.82, breaking the resistance point there as against 0.09% depreciation recorded previously. Year to date, market index gained about 4.43%. Market breadth closed positive, however, as Academy Press PLC led about 24 gainers against 13 losers, led by Regency Assurance PLC at the end of yesterday's trading session, which is an improved performance when compared with previous outlook. In the meantime, market turnover closed negative as volume down by 9.58% against 5.37% recorded in the previous session. At the end of yesterday's trading session, Transcorp, FBN Holding and Jais Bank were the most active stocks to boost market turnover, while shares of Seplat and Dangote Cement top market value. Well, I hope that the MCR will be able to put that for you so you can see that as well. Some of the figures that were traded on the market yesterday. Mr. Ambrose Omodion is Chief Research Officer. He invests data. He joins us via the telephone now to look at the market in details. Thank you, Mr. Ambrose Omodion, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's look at the market yesterday. Investors gained about over 400 billion naira at the end of trading session. What would you say was the reason, or what's the factor that drove the index upward by 1.73%, or 1.71% rather?
Yeah, actually, as you just said, if you look at the market performance year to date, I will tell you that yesterday was the highest performance so far, from the opening day to this moment, so yesterday, sorry, and that is that investors are really taking advantage of the expected earnings. And also, I've said it earlier before now that the January interest of called upon investors to take advantage is unfolding, because if markets are recorded year to date for 4.47, it tells you that January is sustaining that trend of being a positive month for the year. And that means investors that understand these patterns in equity trading are also taking advantage of this thing that the momentum in January is positive and high, and knowing that unaudited earnings for Q4 is going to be in the market. That I know is also what is driving the market. And don't forget that if you look at what happened today, I will tell you that most blue-chip companies were the ones who have high demand. Also, the announcement of the Dangote Cement, coming up with the second buyback as of next week, is also a trigger. You see that the demand for Dangote Cement yesterday was high. Demand for MTN and Seplat was also high yesterday. You can see that a lot of all the high cap stocks yesterday, there was a demand for this stock. And that really supported the market in an uptrend. And it is not far fetched that because everything is close by. I told you earlier that this first quarter of 2022 is still expecting most of the companies that have the number at their end. And this number will start rolling in any moment from now. But the point of this will be in at from any moment from January. Because those unaudited accounts supposed to be the market within 30 days after the quarter has ended at the first. And today is already 30th day of January. And they have less than just 17 days to release those unaudited accounts for the quarterly end that is there December. And when December starts coming, you want to give investors an insight where they should position more. Knowing that the Q3 numbers before now have given investors where they start positioning for those dividend paying stocks. And to check the market from January to date, those dividend paying stocks that are consistent are the ones that investors are positioning. I can see that the volume for yesterday was not much. Just to show you that also all those big players in the market, the fund managers, are getting what to return back to the market. Which I think that before next week, you see them coming back to the market, that also add more momentum to the market. For me, January is likely to sustain that tempo of a positive month for 2022. It's a good thing for the market.
We're seeing that the shares of Transcorp, as at yesterday, the FBN Holding and Jais Bank were the most active stocks to boost market turnover. Tell us more of the interest in these shares.
If you look at Transcorp just owns a holding company of its own. Because even though it's not listed among holding companies, if you look at the structure of Transcorp, Transport has the holding company that has its own hotel business separately, has agricultural business separately. I think it has the power, business separately. All these coming together has made this company just of a stable company. But because this company does not have cash to play around, the price that remains below 1 naira. Don't forget that this company called a transport has rallied as high as 7 naira 5 years ago before coming to this level, and every time we thought one that starts to go down. But with the expectation of the numbers for 2 years, people already taking position, knowing that this company has really generated power and moved to the national grid. At the same time, protect business also is gradually bouncing back, and agriculture has been the core of business that has supported the economic growth for 2021. For that, we are seeing that we expect a better number from transport. Design investors are already taking advantage of that expected result in position transport. Yes, the dividend payers is low and not encouraging, but the numbers in that company are strong. But I know that once the transaction of transport starts becoming cash, because they're generating light or power to national grid, they are not getting cash, but they are making money. But if this money becomes cash for them, that company will go places, and that's why design investors are saying they are not positioning in stock. That is for transport. If you look at Jai's Bank, despite that is the low capital, have been consistent in dividend payments, since the listed on the exchange. Yes, that is this low capital that are consistent investment. There are some class of investors that also look at that look at. Despite that the listed like around 3 Kubu or 2 Kubu or 4 Kubu, but because they are consistent in the listed, that's what attraction for another set of investors. That the market that already is combined of the traders and investors. Everyone has different investment objectives why they are in the market. Those that are investing for dividends like investors, they are looking for those low capital that will give them good dividends. Why traders are looking for information that will drive the stock to make capital acquisition or capital gain.
It just less than 2 hours or about 2 hours into the day's trading. Less than 2 hours. Yeah, I'm right. Into today's trading. So give us your outlook for the rest of the week, the day and the rest of the week. What sentiment is likely to play more or in terms of dominating the market for the rest of the week?
Right. For today, I see a market, a mixed market, because you look at what happened in the market yesterday, there's already profit taking in book, which I know that profit taking also will be sustained. And other items that are varying differently and the didn't pay off. That profit taking is slowed down some movement this week. So as from next week, where the numbers are hitting the market, actual number will be paid because that's why I said earlier this week that was just a mixed performance for the week. From beginning now, no Thursday and tomorrow, we're going to expect a mixed market because the buyers and the sellers will determine where the market is going. So if we have more buyers, market will go in the up direction, while more sellers are likely to see the number. They said that after market have rallied for almost 7 straight days, profit taking is bound to have one moment. And that's why I said that this week should be a mixed market for the week, then for the rest of the for the day, because investors are bound to take profit from the market. And it's also part of the market in the world. Knowing you have made money, you have to take money out of the market. That's why when you see stock going down because of profit taking, it's not time for you to panic. But when the stock are going down for another reason, that is where you can think of how to go. So profit taking activity, going to panic is part and parcel of the market anywhere. And I said that will happen between now and Friday. But from upper week, by God's grace, we expect that when we start doing the real actual numbers, that will also support the market to go up. But January is likely to close positive as said earlier.
That's right. I think we should leave it there, pending when you come over here tomorrow for more analysis and the direction of the market for the week and the rest of the month as well. Many thanks for watching. Will I say watching now? Many thanks for coming on the show, Mr. Ambrose Omodion. I appreciate your time. All right. Okay. That's Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Invest Data Consulting Limited. Okay. Well, yeah. Have a good day. Well, I think we need to wrap it up here now. We'll bring you, for those of us who are expecting us to talk about the budget on the power sector in the 2022. Of course, we'll look at that in details when we come here tomorrow. Many thanks for watching. From all of us here, it's goodbye.
Wherever you are, whatever you do, iBrandTV got you covered with the latest news.
On iBrand News Now.
It's about making history.
Top-notch news analysis.
Who knows how many of them that we have in governance?
And Cycle Breakfast Show.
Welcome to another interesting edition of iBrand Daybreak.
Business trends.
Hello and welcome to Business 24.
Entertainment gist.
Hello and welcome to the BTS.
Sport review.
This is the arena.
Fashion tips.
This is brands and fashion on iBrandTV.
And a lot more. Keep watching iBrandTV as we make your day worthwhile with quality TV broadcast. iBrandTV. Business first.
Vests were fashionable for women to wear as part of their everyday style in the late 1900s and early 2000s. Vests have been seen on the runway and in the streets ever since. To say the least, the vest is legendary and it's still very much in trend till date. With a pair of leather pants, just like the popular schoolcore trend that convinced us to wear pleated skirts and sweatshirts, this wardrobe combo is suddenly everywhere. The best part about this style is that it's simple to put together, while also seeming unique and fashionable. In other words, don't overthink it. A basic sweater vest styled over a black top with leather pants will be more than enough. Then, complete the look with any type of footwear, whether it's a boot or loafers. Finding a vest with an eye-catchy color or print instead of one that's solid and neutral is an easy way to add fun and flair to your outfit. In other words, don't overthink it. A basic sweater vest styled over a black top with leather pants will be more than enough. Then complete the look with any type of footwear, whether it's boots or loafers. Finding a vest with an eye-catchy color or print instead of one that's solid and neutral is an easy way to add fun.
See your diary. See your diary. It should be two of you. Like my friend, if you touch me, I will slap you. Okay, now slash me.
Who? Making noise in the government house. Who are they? They want to see me? Can't somebody handle their case? It's me they don't want to see. Okay, let them come.
So you two want to move, Daddy? Follow. Follow. Like mother, like daughter.
I beg you. This one go concern me now. Now this matter will carry come here. I beg, I don't want.
I want to talk. We won't take this.
Excuse me. Yes? What is all this for?
We came to report your driver that impregnated my daughter.
No, Daddy, no.
I don't understand.
Why are you doing like last man?
Excuse me.
You go
Excuse, will you shut up? You are in the governor's office and you have to be very peaceful. So what is the problem?
Sir, We came to report your driver that impregnated my daughter.
Daddy, no.
Wait. My driver impregnated her?
No.
Me?
You not feel.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, sir.
Then your boy.
Sir, with the way situation have now, we pardon your baby. Because this girl said your driver, but the way she's stretching out, it's like you.
It's like me?
Yes.
Excuse me, have you met me before? Oh my God. Sir, what is this?
She's trying to show you what you use. Sir, we can
Wait, she said where and when?
Sir, right. Ahead. That's right now. That's right. Ahead. Ah.
You two are remembering.
Ahead.
Small.
That's so now.
She's the one. See, what you drop into a fertile soil has germinated. It has grown. He has accepted us. Our in-law near your husband.
Are you saying that I am the one responsible for this pregnancy?
My governor, let me tell you something. On Agami, he's written capital letter G. Me, governor. You are not good. That's it. No, it's your property.
Oh shit.
Don't be rubbish that we have been doing up the house.
Leave her alone, she took after me. After she went.
Please, madam, you see, let's just come to an agreement. Negotiation. You see,
they are together.
I saw you with another man.
Like no! This girl cannot even shit in my head.
No!
Let alone cheat on you. I can't shit. This girl cannot cheat.
So you decided to make me the father of the baby?
No.
Me and you decided? When? Because I was drunk that night? I was celebrating the victory of our party.
We voted for you!
Anyway.
We voted for you!
Yes, sir.
If she gives birth to a girl, no problem. You know, in this state, we don't allow abortion.
I know.
If she gives birth to a girl, I will give you 30 million.
Thank you.
Sir!
Oh,
my governor!
Cool down, cool down.
I will cool down.
Cool down, please.
I will cool down. Don't touch me, I'm cooling down.
If she gives birth to, what did I say before? Boy. I'll give you another 30 million.
Hey!
If she gives birth to a girl.
my God, better head.
And again, sit down. Governor. Sit down.
Governor, I'm okay.
I say sit down.
Governor, I'm okay.
I say sit down.
Governor, I'm okay.
Sit down.
Let me turn the AC.
If she gives birth to twins, I'll give each of you 50-50 million. What is all this?
Governor, you have spoiled our life. I've not counted 50,000 before. I don't mention 50 million. 30 million.
Sit down.
Daddy, stop it. You're embarrassing me.
You're embarrassing me.
Embarrassing us. You're embarrassing me and my baby.
Listen. If after giving birth to the twins, I'll fly to Vietnam.
Daddy, we've gone to London before.
Governor, our life has spoiled. Sorry, our life has better.
And if she loses the pregnancy,
You go put her. You go put her. Excellency, if I be king of, I think you are the but you not kill you.
My baby girl.
if you touch her, I kill.
Don't want to. We have to rent me back to carry you.